Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and an ongoing study in the novel by Reine, First Sons and Last Daughters. We're going to take a look at page 161 to 181, very good section of the novel. Let's go to block 1 and get started. Okay, block 1, Healing the Spirit, Lake Tahoe. Rebecca, Scarborough's love interest, tells Peyton that she informed Ashton of Peyton's arrival in Tahoe. Peyton took up paddleboarding to relax with Rebecca, and Peyton is also informed that Ashton has a house there in Tahoe. Now, Rebecca is a liberal who lives in an open marriage situation, and she tells Peyton that Ashton will also join them at dinner. So is Ashton really past, or is Ashton present? Peyton declares that Scarborough is like the very best of family. He's a very true friend. And Rebecca tells Peyton she has invited Scarborough to stay a little longer. And so the subject of having an affair comes up, and Peyton declares that Adler would never forgive an affair, never. Now, Peyton is there for the purpose of doing art restoration work for Rebecca. She's there to do the minor work of restoration. And Peyton tells her it's going to be a gift from her to Rebecca. It's a gift of grace. Tranquility prevails over the drive to Rebecca's for dinner. You got the view of the landscape, the mountains of Lake Tahoe, and there's a tourist out there over the lake in their hot air balloons. It's a very tranquil scene. Ashton arrives and gives Peyton the gift of gifts. She gives Peyton as a gift a Hasselblad 500 medium format camera. Obviously not only a classic, it's a tremendous camera. Good grief. I mean, interchangeable backs. It's just awesome. I mean, it's really a nice camera. And he gifts that as a gift to Peyton, a Hasselblad 500. Ashton and Peyton retire momentarily to the sitting room, and in that sitting room there are 3 of Harlow's original paintings. And Ashton realizes that Peyton is in the process of locating and the requisition of her mother's originals for the upcoming museum project that she has. And so she's obviously going to be very interested in purchasing these from Rebecca if she can get that agreed upon. But that's the project, and she shares that project with Ashton. And Ashton offers to help. So we've got everyone at Rebecca's at Lake Tahoe. Let's go to block 2 and take a look at basking in serenity, or are we looking at the blurring of boundaries? Peyton tells Ashton she does not want to hurt him by always rejecting his advances, but she realizes that he could definitely hurt her because, like she said earlier to Rebecca, an affair would not work. Adler would not stand for an affair, and really her own core values, Peyton's not looking for an affair, and so she's says, I don't want to hurt you, but this can't go where you're trying to make it go. She goes, I don't want to hurt you, but she has a core set of values that she will not cross, even though he continually is blurring the boundaries. She does agree to go sailing with him after she completes the restoration work she's doing for Rebecca. But here's the question: can this restoration really solve the conflicted feelings she's gathering within herself? She wonders. I mean, you got to remember here that Reine is always writing in metaphor, and this is literary work. You've got to look at these every line, every scene as a metaphor for something deeper, something much, much more substantial. And the very fact that Peyton does restoration work is very significant. And she's getting confused. I mean, she's getting very conflicting feelings because obviously she has a very intimate past with Ashton. He wants to get that going again, and it's not like he's a bad person. He's a very good person. He's being very kind to her, and it's a very difficult situation for her to deal with, but she realizes she cannot cross that boundary. She cannot live like Rebecca lives. That's not her, and she wants to remain true to herself. So let's move on here to the gathering storm of feelings. Peyton tells Rebecca about her upcoming museum project and her desire to purchase Harlow's original paintings, which she will replace with copies. Ashton intervenes and offers to assist Rebecca with a special project of her own. And Ashton says, "I'll do that for you. I'll help you with your project if you will give in to Peyton and sell her those originals." So this is tremendous. Now check this out. Peyton's response is very important here. Now we have a very, very important scene here. Peyton quietly and privately rubs that healed scar in her left hand from the ceremony that she previously participated in, that sacrificial ceremony. Now she intentionally rubs that healed scar in her left hand that is nearly completely healed, but she rubs that scar. So like doubting Thomas putting his hand in the wound of Christ, Peyton interprets Ashton's action as atonement and as genuine loving sacrifice. It really is. And Rebecca agrees to Peyton's proposal, and in a quiet moment, Ashton tells Peyton he's feeling a restoration of their intimacy. Ashton feels like their past is coming back, and he feels that intimacy is welling up again. Peyton ends up in that evening calling Laylee back at the ranch to sort out her overwhelming feelings that have basically overpowered her, because she's extremely conflicted now, because Ashton has been genuine and caring, and it's not an easy situation for her to avoid. Peyton declares that she will lose sleep, all for the sake of restoration. Laylee recognizes panic in the voice of Peyton. Peyton confesses that Ashton makes time and space for her, something Adler simply does not do. And she confesses that she feels really weak and wonders to herself, will there arise a hidden strength of which I am currently not aware of? Because the boundaries are getting blurred, she's getting confused, she's actually getting overwhelmed, and actually has to call Laylee and get some kind of support, because Ashton's actually being kinder than he ever was, and more caring than he ever was. And right now that's lacking in her marriage. And so this is really, obviously, it's something that speaks to who she genuinely is. She wants to be appreciated. She wants to be loved. She wants to be cared for and genuinely loved. And right now that's a challenge. There's a border being a rift between her and Adler at the current time. So very, very difficult. And now we close out these 20 pages with block 3, and it's a very powerful conclusion. Let's go to block 3. Okay. Know thyself when the other stops being alien. Know thyself. Peyton begins with her perspective of her fall years, but also with the hope of the perspective of her spring years in the past. To know herself in a new way, and she wants to know herself with a new pattern for life. She's ready to begin sailing with Ashton. The first sailing lesson begins now. Okay, right thyself from a capsized marriage. Ashton tells Peyton the first lesson in sailing is always how to right a capsized boat. And Peyton immediately internalizes this as a metaphor for her marriage. Ashton tells her to take the tiller and feel the excitement of navigating again. And she does feel the excitement of this. She can feel it pull, and she feels excited about this navigating of her own life like she used to do. So she's at the tiller and she feels in command, and she really does appreciate that feeling. Peyton then asks Ashton to help her in bringing the museum project to life. She wants Ashton to help her bring the museum project to life. Bringing the museum of one's life to life. Ashton, kind of relishing the moment, snaps a photo of Peyton at the tiller with the Hasselblad that Peyton brought with her. He then tells her that it is possible to outrace the wind, but you have to hold your mark. And Peyton asks, what mark are you talking about? And he says very insightfully, the mark that realizes that we are never really alone. Now, this is Ashton, okay? I mean, I'm noticing, from Volume 1, we don't have this type of an Ashton that has actually gained some depth of character from the previous, as he has gotten older. But I love that, the mark that realizes that we are never really alone. Because right now, he knows that Peyton feels, although married, she feels very much alone. So it's a very, very difficult, extremely difficult situation. And in every section of Reine's writing, I like to find the key scene, the key moment for myself. And it has to be Block 2, Note 3, like doubting Thomas, putting his hand in the wound of Christ, Peyton interprets Ashton's action as an atonement, as a loving sacrifice. And Rebecca even agrees to sell Harlow's originals, at least 2 of them, to Peyton. And then we've got Peyton responding to this tremendous development by thinking back to the bear claw sacrificial ceremony at the campfire when she cut her left palm, squeezed blood into the fire, and did ask at that time for a new pattern, a saving, redemptive pattern to her life, a reconciling pattern to her life. That was what her prayer was at the sacrificial ceremony. So for me, I love the metaphor of sailing. I mean, I used to own a sailboat, and I love the metaphor. I love closing out with the metaphor of sailing, but for me, it's the wound of Christ in the left hand that really speaks to me. But absolutely powerful 20 pages of the novel. So again, I am very, very impressed with the writing by Reine here. It's a tremendous writing, and I gained a lot by participating in this section of the novel, because it does ask for participation. But I love the metaphor of sailing. I used to have a sailboat, and I love that scene of Peyton kind of off by herself, putting her hand and rubbing the palm with the that is scarred with the wound of Christ. That's going to wrap up 161 to 181. And we'll pick up next time as we continue in our coverage of this profound, meaningful novel.